how much you need more?
I think clearly, if we can, on top of what we are getting from IMF and World Bank, ADB, and other multilaterals, if we can get between $4 to $5 billion extra per year for the next 3 years, is at least the kind of the least we expect, because skill development and poverty alleviation program alone is going to cost us around $3 billion a year. And I think because that is going to be where skill development by itself is going to cost $2 billion out of the total poverty alleviation program. And then if you look at our security needs, whereas the Taliban is spending so much money, I think you clearly will have to spend at least $1 billion, $1.5 billion fighting these guys. And then you look at our other issues like water and agriculture. So I think that's where. So I think if you look at our needs, the gap should be at least $5 billion, $4 or $5 billion each year for at least 3 years, 3 to 5 years.
$5 billion for each of the 3 years.
3 years.
$15 billion over.
Yeah, I'm saying 3 to 5 years, anywhere between 15 to $25 billion. That's what we require, at least as a minimum. Now, obviously, what we are, will put on the table will be more than that, but at least this much is, expected, from our friends.
So totally, how much will be your foreign debt after you already agreed with IMF to receive 7.6 billion, right? So up to now, how much is your foreign debt?
Foreign debt is $46 billion. Foreign debt, total debt, local and foreign, is around 56% of our GDP. So that's not a problem, because our GDP is also growing. So I think we will, the debt to GDP declined from 104% of GDP to now 56%. So it has come down over the last 8 years. So this year it has gone up from 55 to 56, only 1%, and from next year it will start coming down. So we do not have a problem on our debt to GDP. What we require now is, of course, we need to our economic program, long-term program, focuses on increasing our exports, increasing reducing trade deficit, reducing current account deficit. So once we do that, then I think our debt to GDP will start declining again. The total foreign debt is $46 billion.
How is the Pakistan economy doing now in the context of
Very
global
good.
financial
Very,
crisis?
very. Frankly, we are trying to stabilize the economy. Remember last year, fiscal deficit was 7.4%, current account deficit was 8.4% of our GDP. Inflation, food inflation at 34%, and headline inflation at 25%. So we're trying to now bring it cool, and frankly, we were also growing at around 7%. GDP growth was 7%, in 07, and 5.5% in 08. Now we're going to bring down the GDP growth to something like 3.5% this year. Bring down inflation, this year in calendar year in single digits. Bring down the fiscal deficit from 7.4% to 4.2%, cut it into almost into half, and also the current account deficit from 8.4% to less than 6.5%. Now, first 6 months, the results are that our current account deficit is well within that 6.5%. I think we are going to be doing better than that. Our fiscal deficit for 6 months was 1.9% only, which means we are well ahead of target, meeting 4.2%, for the full year. And inflation for this full year would be now in single digits, by the end of the calendar year. So we are making a very good progress. Growth is going to be, between 3.4 to 3.7%. The central bank just latest figures is 3.7%. Well, let's say 3.5 to 3.7% is the growth rate. But as we stabilize our economy and put pressure, put emphasis on agriculture, manufacturing, energy and everything else, we believe next year the growth rate will go back to 5%, and then we should be looking at 6% plus.